Boots hit the dirt, no rest for the real. Steel spine straight, I'm a soldier, no chill. Snakes in the grass, they creep and conceal. 20/30 vision, better sharpen your steel. We won't stop, I won't quit. Stand for the truth, no counterfeit. Real ones rise, let the fake ones split. Prepare for the lies, let the darkness live. Echoes in the swamp, whispers in the wind. Legacy to build, can't let the devil win. Cash rules the weak, but my soul don't bend. 20/30 knocking, better cleanse that sin. They want us to sleep, but the light stays on. Fake smiles, fake friends, all of them gone. Cages of comfort, we breaking out strong. Roots in the south, but the fight's lifelong. We won't stop, I won't quit. Stand for the truth, no counterfeit. Real ones rise, let the fake ones split. Repent for the lies, let the darkness live. Prepare for the storm, skies turning gray. The wolves in the suit got dues to pay. From the ashes we climb, no time to delay. The real ones prepare for the judgment day. Yeah.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu.
All righty. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ARP in the morning. I am your host, Wise Man. I appreciate you guys pulling up this morning. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button for me. We got a lot to get into. If you notice, my eyes are a little shiny. I got a situation going on, but we're going to power through. We're going to make it do what it do. We're going to get into this. We're not going to stay on this Iran situation too long. We just want to, give a quick update, drop some facts or some things of, what happened. I know some people agree with it. Some people don't agree with it. But, hey, it is what it is. Like I was telling my uncle yesterday, man, hey, above my pay grade. Shout out to the Blues. in the chat early this morning. Shout out to ZFRK9, West Virginia Wire. Oh, and I want to make sure we're not having any technical difficulties days. If you guys could drop a 1 in the chat for me just to make sure, let me know that you guys can hear me just fine. Please drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. If you cannot hear me, drop a 2. That way we can get these technical difficulties taken care of immediately. But I'm hoping that you guys can hear me just fine. Okay, perfect. And Crystal, I'm sorry to hear about what's going on with you over on TikTok, man. That's a daggone mess. I'm sorry to hear that. But hey, you got a home on this side of things, man. So, I'm looking forward to seeing, what you do with what we discussed, man, so we can get you, to where you need to get to, and then you can kind of, get on your path of doing what you're out here to do. Out here in these internet streets, man. So shout out to you, Crystal. It's hey, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. What's up, Lori Addison? How you doing this morning, sister? Redefined Queen. Appreciate you all pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. Let me show Lori Addison real fast. She says, good morning, everyone. Start the day with Wise Way 100. And please remember to hit that daggone like button on the way in. Shout out to you. Thank you very much, Lori. Appreciate that. Shout out to JJ O'Hara. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Appreciate you. I'm going to highlight him as well. He says, good morning. Anything I can pray for anyone today, please let me know. Well, hey, I want to throw one out there. Hey, let's pray for peace. I know we, did what we did, over the weekend, but let's pray for peace and a peaceful solution. How about that? Shout out to Nanny's Take on the World. What's up, Michelle? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up as always. What up, Scott John, Cool Ramon, Marla, 5656. Would you change your name back? I knew who you were. Did you change your name? You changed it back? What up, Toy Mafia? What's up, Big Job Ford? How's it going, man? Hey, be safe out there, brother. I know you're out there paving the airport up there in Milwaukee, man. So be safe. Make sure you stay hydrated. I know out here on the East Coast, man, we're gonna have a heat wave. Out here on the East Coast, it's going to be nasty out. It's been raining all week, and now we're about to get the heat, and it's going to be hot and humid as all get out. Make sure you guys maintain and stay hydrated, man. Seriously. What's up, Buddha? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Nelly? Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up as well. Kevin Caldwell, what's going on, brother? Hope all is well with you. Donald Lovejoy, appreciate you pulling up this morning. What's up, B? How you doing this morning, sister? What up, Quincy James? Hope you enjoyed your 4-day weekend, sir. I'm a little jealous. Hope you enjoyed your 4-day weekend, brother. Let us know in the chat, man, what you throw on the grill this past weekend, man. Let us know. What's up, Malachi? How you doing this morning, brother? Appreciate you pulling up. Shout out to, who else we got up here? Oh, I already said something to my guy, Cool Ramon, but appreciate you, brother, pulling up as always. What up, Crystal? Who else we got? Vicky Vale, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Shout out to you. What up, LJ Taylor? How you doing this morning? Yo, yourself. What up, Kenny Cooper? How you doing this morning, brother? Be safe out there on the road, brother. He out there in Baton Rouge unloading. Be safe out there, man. Shout out to all my truck drivers that listen to the channel while they out there doing their thing. Shout out to you guys, man. Be safe out there on the road. What's up, AK Bauer, CJM, Six Gun Sound? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Diney? How's it going? Duluth, Minnesota in the house. Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Act One? Appreciate you pulling up. A Canadian take on the news. Shout out. Appreciate you pulling up. What up, White ED Main? Appreciate you pulling up this morning, brother. Hope all is well. Who else we got up in here? We got George Hayden. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. CTM 1990. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. All righty. Mark Hope, what's going on, man? How you doing this morning? Denise Harvey, how you doing this morning? Hope all is well. Abraxas 2121. Amber Young, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you guys very much for pulling up. And I'm glad that everybody can hear me. I was able to see that. So that's really, really cool. Shout out to Hunter with the $20 super chat. Says, good morning, everybody. Gonna be a little hot out today, so don't get heat strokes. Here is a Bible verse for today. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew chapter 5, verse 3. Thank you very much, Hunter, for blessing us with the good scripture out of Matthew. And absolutely, it is going to be hot this week. Please Make sure you guys, stay hydrated, all those good things, man, because it is going to be hot out here this week. You can count on it. Yeah, Marla said, yeah, Wise took my name back. All right, cool. Good to see it. What's up, American Girl and Mark Engler? Appreciate you all pulling up this morning, man. And as you guys can see, I got my Pray Don't Worry hoodie with everything going over the weekend. I know it's very, very hyperbolic. A lot of people are, there's concerns, so forth and so on. With everything going on, obviously, we had the successful attacks, over on Iran. We had a church, church shooting foiled, which was phenomenal. And that's pretty much the premier story for the day, the focus story, the feature story for the day. And then there's also some positive news. I want to try to incorporate some positive news, within the show on a day-to-day basis. What's up, Marie News? How's it going? I want to, make sure that with all the craziness that's going on, we definitely got to discuss some wins. We got to discuss some of the positivity that's also going on in our nation right now as well. It's really, really easy to kind of get down in a rabbit hole of the negativity, and of the things that could potentially bring us down, right? So I think it's good for us to discuss some of the positivity that's going on, in our nation as well. So if you haven't done so already, hit that like button for me. What's up, Reason Mahmood? Appreciate you pulling up this morning, brother. Hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. C. Bergie, what's going on? Luis Torres, appreciate you pulling up this morning, brother. Oh, Quincy said he did the pork line today. Over the weekend. Okay, all right. I understand. I know some folks, they ain't into the pork. Some folks is like, hey, I ain't into the pork. I ain't into it, but I understand. And for those of you guys that know about the Southerners, man, they eat that daggone pig from the rooter to the tutor. What's up, Leslie Aaron? She said, good morning, Wise and chat on this steamy morning in ATL. Yeah, I'm sure it's all hot and humid down that joint. Goodness gracious. I'm sure it is. All right. What's up, Louise? How you doing this morning, sister? Miss McNeil, appreciate you pulling up. So let's get into it. Make sure you all hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Super chats will stop the show. Super thanks will stop the show as well. Please make sure that you guys keep it peaceful in the chat. Make sure that we got our likes up. We got 170 people in the building right now. So let's make sure we got our likes up in here. We should have 170 likes right now. We're going to get into the show. And I also want to know, the intro song. What are your thoughts, man? Good, bad? Should we go back to the original? Or, are you guys kind of feeling the new countdown song? I actually like it, man. I like it. I thought it was apropos for what we got going on right now and for the summer. Maybe we'll rock it out for the summer. I am not retiring the A Righteous Perspective theme song. It is not being retired. It's still here. It's still around. You'll see it or hear it in some of the shorter videos. But this particular track, man, I really, really like it. I had it made, about 2 weeks ago or whatever. I wasn't for sure what I was going to do with it, but I was like, oh, man, this is phenomenal. And yeah, it's rocking, man. It's rocking. I like it a lot. I've rode around and bumped it in my car. I was like, man, this song jamming. But do appreciate you guys, man, as always, man. Let's get the show started. For my blues or somebody in the chat, one of my ARP family members, make sure that we can timestamp this time so that way when the show is over, you're not going to be able to do it now in the chat, but when the show is over, if someone could go in the comment section and put a timestamp, I'll make sure that I pin your comment to the top so everybody knows if they are watching the replay, hey, we actually got the show started at the 13-minute going on the 14-minute mark. So if you guys could kind of do that for me, that would be great. But Kenny Cooper says, yeah, it's a nice song, Mr. Wise, and a good switch up every now and again. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Appreciate that, guys. I'm glad. I hope you guys had a great weekend. It was definitely a wild weekend, but I hope you guys enjoyed the weekend. I know Quincy James enjoyed his long weekend. I'm kind of jealous, man. A 4-day weekend. I don't know what that's like. A 4-day weekend. Sheesh. Congratulations, Julie C. I'm not exactly sure for what, but let me check in the chat and see what happened. Oh, Julie C got grandbaby number 7. That is something to be thankful for, man. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. That is awesome, man. Grandbaby number 7. That is awesome. Wow. That is a blessing, man. That is a blessing. My family is really small, believe it or not. My wife's family, on the other hand, is something else. But my family, my intermediate family, really, really small. I am the oldest grandchild on both sides, on my mother and on my father's side. I am the oldest grandchild. There's two of us on my mother's side. I'm sorry, two of us on my father's side. And unfortunately, none of my uncles on that side had any kids. So I have 0 first cousins on that side, on my father's side. And, on my mother's side, for a long time, it was just my sister and myself for a long time. It was just us two. And then my little brother came about, about 14 years or so later. And then my little cousin came about another year after that. But that is a blessing to have 7 grandkids. Goodness gracious. That is awesome, man. Those are the things that matter. I know, and I don't want to get off on a tangent, but I know there's a lot of women out there and a lot of younger women out there that, they're chasing a bag, they're chasing these careers and they're chasing the next job and the next job. But you know what, man? You know what really, really matters? And you know what will matter when it's all said and done, especially as you get older. And Julie C., please comment on this in the chat. If you feel the same way, and some of the other ladies, and some of the other women in the chat, if you guys feel the same way. But when it's all said and done, especially as you get older and you start to look back at your life, what really matters is the family that you were able to create and build and nurture, right? Your children bringing on children. It's a blessing to get an opportunity to see your grandchildren. It's even more of a blessing to get an opportunity to see your great grandchildren. It's even more of a blessing. And all that money, the bag chasing, the career, the titles, none of that stuff matters in the grand scheme of things. None of that stuff matters. When you look back at it and you can look at your lineage and say, hey, I'm going to be on this planet for a very long time because of the lineage I was able to build between, with my husband or my wife, the children that we were able to have and the grandchildren that we have. People got to understand, man, we live on through them. We live on through our children. We live on through our grandchildren. And Lord willing, we'll get an opportunity to see our great grandchildren and that we will have grandchildren. And it's a blessing, man. It is a blessing. Seriously. I know my grandmother before she passed. And she was a fairly successful woman, in the grand scheme of things from a job or career. But I remember her talking about how proud she was of us, the grandchildren, and how proud she was of the great grandchildren that she, the Lord gave her those years to be able to see and play a part of. My kids, my oldest son is the oldest grandchild on my side. And he spent a lot of times, with my grandmother, with his great grandmother, spent a lot of time, and my youngest son as well. And the thing that she didn't talk about her career and the accolades that she was able to achieve at work. She talked about her family, how proud she was and how happy of the family and how we turned out. She was really, really proud of that. We never, we used to talk every day. We never had conversations about her job, the job she had. It was so very rare that a conversation would be brought up about the career. It was always about us. It was always about the kids. It was always that. And, so Julie C., congratulations. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to have those grandchildren. Lord willing, I'll get a chance to do the same. Shout out to Casey Cooper with the $5 super chat. Says God's plan happening in front of our eyes. Our families come after God. So important. Absolutely, man. So important. And the thing is that, people chase the money and they think that the money is the end all be all. In all actuality, it's not, man. The wealth is in the family. The wealth is in your family. That wealth is in your health, but it's also in your family, man. It's about that lineage. That's what it's about. Sorry to go off on a tangent. Sorry about that. But let's get going. So we got to talk about, the Iranian situation. So President Trump, he greenlit a major strike on Iran's nuclear facilities. They hit 3 locations. Y'all heard it at the beginning of the video there, in his video. And it was clean. It was precise. It was devastating. No U.S. casualties, which was a positive. No U.S. casualties. All aircraft made it out safely. And the sites, from what we're hearing, they're gone. Now let's rewind for a quick second. These weren't surface level targets. These were bunkers buried deep, very, very deep. We're talking hundreds of feet down. I mean, think about Top Gun, Maverick levels of precision. 7B2 bombers drop 30,000-pound bunker busters, GBU 57s in a perfectly timed sequence. It was called Operation Midnight Hammer, and it was surgical. It was surgical. As someone who served in the United States military, as someone who actually was an air traffic controller, that was my job when I was in the military. I controlled planes. I've been a part of some of these missions. Obviously I can't get into those details, but I've been a part of that process as a controller, as a training person, listening in on what's happening, and as someone, who, has been a part of it and actually been at the helm, as a lead controller, and I got a chance to see it. And I'll tell you this, the amount of training, the amount of exercises and things of that nature that we go through, as service members are, I mean, it can be a little redundant, but when you actually get an opportunity to, do some of the things that you've practiced, and it actually comes together the way it's supposed to, it's a good feeling, so I'm sure the people, that were a part of this particular mission, those that were a part of the mission, I'm sure they feel pretty good about themselves in just the way that they handle the mission. Because a lot of times you don't know if you're ever going to get an opportunity to do the things that you practice, right? A lot of times, man, we practice for practice sake. And it seems like it's like, man, we're drilling and we do this every day, and we do it every day, and we do it every day. And then when you actually, get a chance to go through it and it works, you're like, man, okay, that's why we do what we do. That's why we train the way that we train. In the mission, the U.S., they used some decoy bombers. They had mid-air refueling, submarine launched Tomahawks. I mean, it was the entire playbook. It was the entire playbook. There was some additional help out there, taking out air defenses and missile systems, before those guys went out there and they made that move. And the reality of it is, it wasn't just a bombing. Really, it was a message. Don't try us. That was really, I think that's really what it was. It was just a message being tossed out there. Trump is now calling for a moment of peace, saying that Iran can either come to the table or face worse. We'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens with it. But the maneuver, the ability, what they were able to accomplish as far as the service members go. I'm not talking about those, who called on the mission, so forth and so on. I'm just talking about the service members, the way they went about doing things. They did their jobs at a very, very high level. I don't know how much you guys know about mid-air refueling or even sea-to-sea refueling, ship-to-ship refueling in the sea. Something serious, man. Those types of situations they're scary, and they have to be done with precision, or people can get hurt. A lot of people can get hurt. And whether you agree with the strike or not, I'm not here, to debate that. Whether you agree with the strike or not, I'm not here to debate that. But the execution from our military, it was flawless. I'm sure you guys would agree with that. The execution was flawless. Even the media's struggling to spin it. Mainstream media, they're struggling to spin it in some kind of way because, leaks. They talking about, leaks. Because the Democrat lawmakers, they were upset because they were not briefed. And they're all whining about not being briefed. But if you guys have read the book called Term Limits, if you haven't read the book called Term Limits, I definitely think you should check it out. It's a nonfiction book. I'm sorry, it's a fiction book, but there's some truth. A lot of times in these fictions, especially if you're into espionage or those types of books, there's a lot of truth sprinkled in the fiction, right? Obviously, they're changing names and sites and things of that nature, but there's a lot of truth, man. I think you guys should check out Term Limits by Vince Flynn. Phenomenal book. But I want you guys to hear from your favorite, we'll say LJ Taylor's favorite politician. Let's check out what she had to say.
In on Monday. You could have hollered at us on Monday. If you truly felt like there was something, like There is nothing that they will say that will make me believe.
Now I want to say this. This is a politician. You could have hollered at us. You're a politician, lady. Come on, man. LJ, get your girl.
I go back in on Monday. You could have hollered at us on Monday. If you truly felt like there was something, like, there is nothing that they will say that will make me believe that this action needed to take place, and it needed to take place without the consultation of the Congress. All right. Give me one more.
All right. Yeah. Crystal, get your girl. Get your girl. Come on now.
I go back in on Monday. You could have hollered at us on Monday.
This is a sitting daggone congresswoman, yo. Jasmine Crockett, she either gaslighting or she's just not smart. Seriously. She's either gaslighting or she's just not smart. I mean, this is a sitting congresswoman talking about y'all should have hollered at me. She's telling the president he should have hollered at her. What are we talking about here, man? This is a sitting congresswoman telling the president he should have hollered. Like, where are we at? Who are you talking to? I mean, you don't have to like the man, but you should respect the office. You don't have to like the man, but you should respect the office. Really? Y'all should have hollered? Or maybe is it a situation where she's trying to dumb down the vernacular because she assumes that Black people only understand this type of rhetoric, this type of language? Is that what it is? Leslie, answer that for me. Is that what it is? She's talking like this because she assumes that Black people don't understand proper English. We don't understand, how to use, proper wording, proper vernacular. Is that what it is? Is that what it is? LJ, get your girl, man. Seriously. Get your girl. Get your girl. Really? He should have hollered at us?
Back in on Monday. You could have hollered at us on Monday. If you truly felt like there was something, like, there is nothing that they will say that will make me believe that this action needed to take place, and it needed to take.
LJ said, leave me out. All right, Dion, get your girl. She should have hollered at her. He could have hollered at us. I mean, come on, man. Seriously. Really? That's what we do? That's how we, as a sitting congresswoman, that's how we talk? That's how we speak to our constituents? I mean, this is Jasmine Crockett. She is a sitting congressperson. She should know that via the War Powers Resolution, that the president, they can call for airstrikes, drone strikes. They can even put troops on the ground if they want to, as long as Congress is notified within 48 hours of the mission. She should know this. Now, my question is, does she know it? Or is it a situation where she's just playing to the ignorance of her constituents? I don't know. But, Trump, and I quote, he says, hey, I want to catch Iran off guard. Now, this is a fake quote. I'm sorry. Fake quote. I want to catch Iran off guard to avoid large-scale war, but maybe I should ask permission from the loudest clown in Congress first. I mean, come on, man. Let's keep it real. If they wanted to keep that a secret, telling this lady she'd be the last person that you would want to tell. I'm just saying. She'd be the last person that you'd want to tell.
Intelligence Committee, one of the members of the so-called Gang of Eight, said he found out about the strikes on Twitter. Listen to this. Listen to what he said.
I learned about this strike last night on Twitter, which, as you point out, is an uncomfortable thing for the ranking member of the Intelligence Committee, particularly given the fact that the whole premise here is that something changed, right? That, Prime Minister Netanyahu made reference to new intelligence. There was some mention of it this morning. So bad enough that we weren't informed, but, unconstitutional that we didn't have the opportunity to debate and speak as the representatives of the people on what is one of the more consequential foreign policy things that this country has done in a long time.
So technically, if we're going to get into the weeds, we're going to get into the weeds of this. And I think, we should. I think some people, I mean, this is a lot of reason why we do need those civics classes back in schools. We do need people teaching or learning civics. The requirement is to notify Congress within 48 hours of the strike. President Trump, they say, he did meet that requirement by notifying Republican leadership, which meets the criteria. Excuse me. Excluding Democrats in this case seems to have been prudent for the success of the mission. Now, let's rewind the tape and lay out exactly how we got here. How we got from cautious diplomacy to shock and awe strike wave or shock and awe wave, strike that has basically the entire world on edge at this point. Back in March, the Trump team, they were still convinced that Tehran might sit down at the table in good faith. State Treasury, even back channel envoys, they were circulating proposals, and for a hot minute, there was a genuine optimism. But by late spring, every intel cable reaching the White House told the same story, is that the mullahs were running out the clock. Instead of bargaining in earnest, they were stuffing more, stuffing more of these, I guess, potential weapons and things of that nature into these mountain bunkers, essentially daring Washington to blink while they edge closer and closer to a bomb. That narrow window, as JD Vance now calls it, slammed shut fast, and the president decided that the only way to buy time and maybe resurrect real talks was to level the facilities that made a dash for the bomb possible. And now even the, I guess, usually skeptical networks sound momentarily impressed to an extent. You have an MSDNC analyst that admitted that the secrecy, precision, and the fact that there were zero casualties were rather impressive. Now, again, this is MSDNC. We take what they say with a grain of salt.
Just under 30 minutes here.
Well, one, it went longer than I anticipated, but there were four things that jumped out at me. One, the level of secrecy of this mission. The fact that you had planes that flew from the continental United States, from Missouri, and flew for, I think it said 18 hours with multiple refueling in the air. The second thing, what jumped out to me was just the execution of this massive plan involving the U.S. military, seemingly in multiple theaters. This decoy you were talking about went to the Pacific to take away from what was happening the other way. The other thing that jumped out at me was that when the chairman of the Joint Chiefs said no Iranian planes flew and no shots were fired at any of the U.S. military jets, all of that to me is just from what they're telling us is rather impressive. And I say, are we going to the Steph Twitty, or are we going to the reporter? Oh, we're going to all of you. Let's bring into the conversation retired Lieutenant General Steph Twitty, former Deputy Commander of United States European Command and NBC News military analyst; Chris Marr, former Assistant to the Secretary of Defense for Public Affairs; NBC News national security reporter Gordon Lubold; and also coming into the conversation, New York Times Pentagon correspondent Helene Cooper. I was going to go to General Twitty. Actually, I'm going to go with you first, General Twitty. Just your reaction to what we heard in this briefing, and also your reaction to Secretary Hegseth saying that the scope and scale would impress the American people.
Well, good to be with you, Jonathan. Let me just say that I'm proud of our.
Shout out to Crystal from Crystal Beyond Labels. Sorry about that. With the $5 super chat, says Iran would have been waiting for us if the squad knew the plan. Oh, there's probably some truth there. It definitely. I assume that it would have been leaked. I mean, we literally think about this. We actually have a faction of people in America right now that I would assume that these are paid people. These are paid people, paid protesters and the likes, that are marching in the streets, waving. They've waved Mexican flags. They've waved Hamas flags. They've waved what is that? Palestine flags. And now you're seeing them wave Iranian flags. I mean, it's crazy to me. The thing is that the people of Iran, I'm not talking about the elites and I'm not talking about the regime that's in charge. I'm talking about the people. I'm just talking about the people. The people don't want this current regime in charge. The people, but they don't live in the United States of America. They can't get online and talk reckless about the current government in their country. They can't get out there and protest like that. They can't get out there and do those things because if they do, they're going to get their heads knocked off. They're going to get their heads knocked off if they jump out there and act like they're going to push back to the current regime. That's just a fact. This is one of those things where I think people really need to get an understanding of how good we actually have it in America. You can disagree and you can actually say it. Not only can you say it, you can get out in the streets, march, and wave other countries' flags in our country without fear of the government coming out and mowing y'all down. Only in America. Seriously, only in America can you do those types of things. You try that in some of these other nations, man, they're going to hide you. They're going to hide you, and they're probably going to hide your family. Let's just keep it a buck. But you know it's crazy when MSNBC can't spin it. You know it's crazy when they can't spin it. You know, as a military op, the execution, it was 10 out of 10. As a military op, the execution was 10 out of 10. I was indifferent, you know, and I'm still indifferent on the attack. To an extent, I understand. But again, I am not privy to the information that would be needed to really make a sound, to come up with a sound conclusion as to should we or should we not be involved in this situation. I'm not privy to the information, and none of us are. The intel and all of that type of stuff, we're not privy to it. You know, now once upon a time, I've been in those rooms and I've had a chance to, you know, sit at those tables and listen to these conversations. And when you're inside the room, to an extent, you can kind of understand, but you also got to understand that, you know, a lot of these guys, the guys that are driving, that flying the bombers, those guys, you know, in those subs and things of that nature, they're just taking orders. You know what I'm saying? They don't know. It's compartmentalized. Everybody doesn't know everything. You just get your job. You get your piece of the puzzle and what your mission, what you're there to accomplish. So everybody doesn't know everything. It's compartmentalized, and it's compartmentalized for a reason. Shout out to Red Bucks with the $5 super sticker. Thank you very much for supporting the channel this morning. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. But execution wise, yeah, this was it was a 10 out of 10. It was. Over at CNN, you got Van Jones of all people. Well, he seems to think this was to be expected. And this is coming from Van Jones. Now, I will say this. There's been a multitude of presidents, you know, over the years that have been talking about the potential dangers of Iran. And the countries in that region, they've been talking about the potential dangers of Iran, to include Saudi Arabia, to include Jordan, and some of these other nations around there. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in the area. If you hadn't been in the area, I mean, I don't think it's really worth going over there because it's hot as all get out. You think we're about to deal with a heat wave right now? Try going outside at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's 110, 120 degrees outside already. Woo! Something else, man. I never experienced heat like that before until being over there. And I've been in a multitude of places over in that region, and it is hot as all get out over there. It is, but it's compact. Everybody they're like right on top of each other. It's really, really close, and everybody's right on top of each other. And majority of the nations that surround Iran, they're not with Iran getting an opportunity to build out nuke. And word on the street is that they were about 60% there. And if you know anything about this, if you're 60% there, to get to that 90% mark of completion is it can happen at a very, very rapid rate. Oh yeah, Dion, it's hot as all get out over there. I'm telling you, 100+ degrees at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's dry. It's not humid, it's dry. So you literally walk outside and you feel like you're cooking. Seriously, it's hot. You know, it is hot over there. But let's check out what Van Jones had to say.
Saw some time in some room. I was also in the Holy Land very recently. I think progressives underestimate how dangerous Iran is. Iran is not a normal country. Normal countries don't blind women because they showed some hair. They don't empower little gangs and proxies to surround a country and fire rockets and rape people. So Iran, the two things are clear. The what, they cannot have a bomb, and the why, because they say death to America, death to Israel, and death to all the Jews. One of those should offend you if you're progressives. At least one should offend you. And so the question, though, is the who and the how. Is Israel going to take out this nuclear capacity by dropping people there who blow it up? Or is America going to take it out by dropping a bomb that blows it up? But the what and the why are clear, and I think progressives should get on board with that. We cannot have a nuclear-armed Iran. I was in the region. You were in the region. This is a very dangerous power that cannot get a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, so Van Jones, same as Trump, is saying that we can't have a nuclear-armed Iran. President Obama said the same exact thing a few years back. He said it, well, actually said it a multitude of times. So now the question becomes, are we going to get even more involved? Now, me personally, I hope that doesn't happen. I do not want to see troops. I do not want to see us put troops on the ground in Iran. I don't want to see it. You know, will Iran come to the table? I'm hoping that. To negotiate, I hope that is the case. I hope they come to the table to negotiate in good faith. I hope, you know, if Iran folds or if they back down and come to the table and agree to U.S. demands, this goes down as one of the most decisive foreign policy victories in modern American history. We're just talking about the way they went about doing things, Now, I'm praying that they will come to the table. I hope it's not a situation to where we find ourselves having to put troops on the ground there. That's not something that I would be interested in. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it. You know, but with this particular situation, you know, some believe that Trump will be remembered not just as a deal maker, but as a commander in chief who followed through. But, and that is a big but, if Iran retaliates and American lives are lost, this could backfire in a big way as well. So there's still a lot out there. There's still a lot up in the air. No one knows what's going to happen. I personally am praying for peace. I'm praying that they will come to the table and there will be some form of negotiation, and all of this will go away. That's what I hope. I don't want to see this escalate. I don't want to see us send troops over there. I don't want to see any of that personally. I don't want us involved in that way, especially, you know, with an election looming and the Democrat Party, they're on the ropes right now. They're on the ropes. And you got Vance out here. He insists that boots on the ground, they're off the table. And I agree with them. He insists that boots on the ground, they're off the table, unless Tehran makes the stupidest mistake in the world by targeting U.S. forces. For those of you guys that don't know, we have a couple bases in that region. It's all out there. We got one out there in Bahrain. We also got Diego Garcia. That's not too far away out in the Indian Ocean. Really, really small island out there, but it's a base. We have an air station out there. So we do have Americans in the region. We also have some, obviously, I believe, out in Israel, and we have embassies, scattered around the region as well. No different than, we have a plethora of countries' embassies right here, in the area where I live at as well. So, we don't want to see these people lose their minds and start targeting U.S. forces. That's not something that we want to see. And while Israel's defense minister openly muses about removing the Ayatollah himself, Washington's public line remains no regime change. Through, everyone can read the subtext. If Jerusalem decides to finish the job, the U.S. probably won't stand in the way. But here's the bottom line, guys. If Iran folds, cuts the terror funding, shelves the nukes, and re-enters civilized company, then history will tally this as a strategic masterstroke for Trump, a pinpoint strike that restored deterrence without dragging us into another forever war, which is something that I'm hoping for. I don't want to see us into another Afghanistan, another Iraq. I'm not interested in seeing that, especially as someone that was in the military during that time frame. It's not fun. It's not fun. Seriously, it's not fun. You know, so if on the other hand, you know, Americans start coming home in flag draped coffins, you know, or gas hits, you know, 10 buckets a gallon because, you know, the strait is choked off, it could stain his legacy and overshadow everything else on the domestic front. So for now, all we can do is watch Tehran's next move. Pray for cooler heads. You know, that's why I got my hoodie on. Pray, don't worry. Let's pray about it. Let's try not to worry about it. We can't control it anyway. And I'm a big believer in control what you can control. Put the rest in the Lord's hands. You know what I'm saying? And don't stress about the things that you can't control. So I'm pretty much there. We hope that cooler heads will prevail. And remember that, you know, in the high stakes game of nuclear poker, sometimes you have to flip the table before someone hides an ace up their sleeve. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, Freeman's Network with the $5 super chat says, Wise, you don't wake up one day and just hate people for no reason. No, you definitely don't. You definitely don't. And I'm not going to sit here and act like, you know, we're just, you know, some super innocent country and we've never done anything. But where we stand today, I would like to see us, I would like to see a peaceful resolution to this particular situation. And I believe that, you know, a lot of the other nations in that region are hoping for the same thing. They're hoping for the same thing. And I would assume that the people of Iran, I would assume that they would love for a regime change. I mean, I've watched some of the videos of Iran before 1979, before this particular regime took over. And I mean, it was a very, very wealthy and prosperous place. It's still a pretty prosperous place. The only problem is that the elites get all the bread and the people on the bottom half of things, the bottom 99%, you know, in the country, you know, are struggling, and they got some pretty strict rules, you know, for the women over there. So, you know, but let's move on. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already. I'm not sure exactly where we are with the likes, but please let me know where we are with the likes. We have 265 people up in here, so let's make sure that we hit that like button. Now, for some more breaking news that happened over the weekend, let's get into it real fast. Hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Like I said, super chats to stop the show. Super thanks will stop the show as well. Let's keep going.
Developing tonight, viral video shows the moment Sunday service turns into a nightmare. Church members seen there running for their lives after a man shows up with a gun and allegedly opens fire. Now, this happened outside of the Wayne Crosspoint Church during a service on Glenwood Road around 11 this morning. Hello and welcome to Fox 2 News at 10. I'm Dave Spencer.
And I'm Hillary Golston. A chaotic and confusing situation unfolding there. Police say one person was shot in the leg. The suspect was eventually shot and killed by a security guard on premise. Fox 2's Camille Amiri has been following this story all day and joins us live with the latest. Camille, just watching that video, I can't even imagine what it would have been like to be inside.
Yeah, I can't either. And I watched that video several times. There were plenty of children in there, too. They'd just gotten done with a children's program. Luckily, he wasn't able to get inside. And thank God they had security, because this could have ended up very differently. Take a look.
Come on, everybody to the back. Please, everybody come to the back. Come to the back. Don, they got to come.
Terrifying moments in church. Parishioners running as they realize there is someone with a gun outside shooting. The service was being streamed online. This terrifying video now being widely circulated on the internet.
We were just scared. We were very scared.
It happened Sunday morning at Crosspoint Community Church on Glenwood Road in Wayne.
The suspect exited his vehicle wearing a tactical vest, armed with a long gun and a handgun. He approached the church building and began firing his weapon.
Church members running for cover while many started calling 911.
I started hearing pop, 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 and I just booked it to the bathroom, and I hid with another parishioner, and we heard footsteps running and a lot of gunshots, and we just stayed there until everything was quiet.
Police say a parishioner hit the gunman with his vehicle as he continued to shoot. Then 2 security guards who are also church members shot the gunman, killing him, according to investigators. One security guard was shot in the leg, but right now it's unclear if he was one of the men who shot the suspect.
Thank goodness they had security. Like, what if they didn't have people with guns to take out the guy with the gun?
We were just praying, and we didn't know what was going on, but we knew it was bad. And hearing all the gunshots and just praying that everybody was safe.
Police say the suspect was a 31-year-old man from Romulus with no known connection to the church. They are not publicly identifying him at this time.
Just horrible, just devastating. This stuff shouldn't happen. It's just a horrible, horrible day.
All righty, so this is tough, man. So on Sunday, obviously you guys got a chance to watch this, man. A terrifying scene unfolded at Cross Point Community Church in Wayne, Michigan, small city just outside of Detroit, about 25 miles or so outside Detroit. This wasn't just any Sunday service, though. It was a special vacation Bible school event packed with about 150 people, including a lot of kids. And the chaos broke out, man, around 11:15 a.m., right after the 10:45 a.m. service kicked off. A 31-year-old white male, identified by authorities as Brian Browning from nearby Romulus, showed up armed, wearing military-style gear. I mean, this guy, he wasn't there to worship, obviously, started firing shots into the church from the parking lot, sending bullets through the walls of a place filled with families and children. One person, a security guard, he was hit in the leg, but here's where the story takes a turn. The church, they were ready for this. Excuse me. They were ready for this. Pastor Bobby Kelly Jr., he later said that the congregation initially mistook the gunfire for construction noise or even a skit until the reality hit. A church member described as a deacon spotted the shooter approaching and didn't hesitate, slammed his truck into Browning, slowing him down and buying critical seconds. And that gave the church's security guard, despite being wounded in the leg, enough time to draw his weapon and take the gunman out. The shooter was dead before he could get inside the building. No one else was hurt, which is nothing short of a miracle given the 150 people inside, many of them children. Now, let's talk about how this could have been so much worse, because Lord knows it could have been so much worse. And it's really, really unfortunate that these types of incidents are starting to become entirely too frequent. You guys remember what happened down in South Carolina with Dylan Roof. He went into, a black church and killed, forgive me, because I cannot remember exactly how many people, that he killed in there, but it was a very, very heinous act there. Y'all saw what happened to the priest out in Australia. And it's been happening more and more frequently. It's starting to happen more and more and more frequently. And thankfully, they had security. Thankfully, they had people in there, wearing, carrying. And the reality of it is, and I think Rock Hens, he mentioned it, he said the apostles walked around with swords. True. For that reason. Yes, Bishop Mari Emanuel, absolutely. So these types of situations are starting to become more and more frequent. Thank you, Kenny Cooper. It was 8 people down in South Carolina. Yes, thank you. And these things are starting to become more and more frequent. And the churches, and obviously, we've been critical of some of these churches out there, especially, in the way that they move and the way they go about things. But more and more, of these churches are having to, out of necessity, hire security. There was a time when, at least when I was growing up, you would assume that the church was one of the safest places that you could possibly be in. That's not necessarily the case in this day and age. Especially if you're not with the far left, woke, progressive church. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not there, and then obviously y'all seen the movies, they've robbed some of the churches and things of that nature. Y'all seen this, Lori said they had to have swords. Guns hadn't been invented yet. Absolutely. But they had to have protection. It was a form of protection. So fortunately, Cross Point, they had a volunteer security team in place for nearly a decade. I would assume that a lot of these people that are part of that volunteer security team are either police officers, former police officers, correctional officers, or just some people, that are gun enthusiasts that decided to go out, maybe take a class or two, to learn security so they can make sure that they can keep the people within the building safe. But I mean, it's something, honestly, I think it needs to happen, man. I think it needs to happen, man, because there is a rising amount of violence, at places of worship across the country. And that's, all different types of places of worship. I mean, we've seen, what has happened at, different, we've seen what have happened, at, obviously different churches, different synagogues, around the country. We've seen this. We've seen this happen. Pastor Kelly said it. He said it best. We are sitting ducks to someone who wants to come and do harm. But they were not defenseless. And fortunately, thank God they were not defenseless. That preparation, combined with the quick thinking of the deacon and the wounded security guard's bravery, stopped a potential massacre. A live stream of the service, which was later taken down, captured the panic. People ducking behind chairs, kids and the adults scrambling to the back of the room. As someone shouted, everybody to the back. Please come to the back. I want you guys to see this, man. It's not graphic, but I mean, it's just crazy, man. This is a very, very scary situation.
Oh. Come on, everybody to the back. Please, everybody come to the back. Come to the back. John, they gotta come. They gotta come. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Go. Out, I don't think is a good idea.
You can only imagine the fear in that moment. Can only imagine the fear in that moment. The Wayne Police Department responded fast, thankfully, with multiple agencies, including the FBI, swarming the scene. Deputy Chief Finley Carter III, he confirmed that the suspect was down. The FBI Deputy Director, Dan Bongino, posted on X that their teams were there providing investigative support. So right now, it's still too early to know why Browning targeted this particular church. Pastor Kelly said that the shooter didn't appear to be a member of the congregation, and there were no known threats against Cross Point beforehand. The investigation is ongoing, with police combing through surveillance footage and gathering evidence to piece together this man's motives. And what's striking here is that the community's response. Pastor Kelly said that the kids are doing good despite the trauma. These kids, I mean, we're talking about Men's Mental Health Month. When you go through something like this as a young kid, I hope that, they, take these children, get them an opportunity to get some help, man, to sit down and speak with someone, because this is a traumatic event, and the church is rallying together, which is positive, and they're planning to meet with the leadership to figure out the next steps. This wasn't just a random act. It's a wake-up call about the world that we're living in today. Places like churches, schools, malls, they're all targets now. And yet stories like this show the power of preparation and the courage under pressure. That deacon, that security guard, they're heroes, plain and simple. And I'm glad that they were out there prepared, kept their head on a swivel. For those of you guys that served in the military, they always tell it, hey man, keep your head on a swivel, because you never know what will happen. You never know. So thankfully, no one was seriously injured there outside of the shooter. And to be honest with you, he deserved what he got. But thankfully, there were no children. None of the parishioners, were harmed, in any critical way. I know one of the security guards, he did take a bullet in the leg. But A.K. Bauer, you're absolutely right. Situational awareness, keeping your head on a swivel is extremely important in all facets. I mean, especially, with everything that we got going on right now. Yeah, it's crazy. Shout out to Casey Cooper joining the ARP family. Thank you very much. Appreciate you joining the ARP family and supporting the channel financially. Thank you very much. God bless you. Excuse me. And finally, I want to get to my last story here. Something that's, I guess, a little more positive. I want to pivot to this last story, and let's talk about wealth in America. So I ran across this article yesterday, in preparation and trying to get things, lined up for here. I ran across this article here. Give me a second. Sorry about that. And, it's just talking about the amount of wealth that is in this nation, that is being accumulated in this nation. Now, according to UBS, a major global investment bank, the United States added over 1,000 millionaires per day in 2024. Y'all heard me. 1,000 millionaires per day in 2024. In 2024. That's a phenomenal number, which means that roughly 1,000 new millionaires every single day. Every single day. The report detailed that by CNBC's Haley, I'm gonna butcher her name, Cuccinello. She says that the U.S. saw a total of about 379,000 new millionaires last year alone. 379,000 new millionaires last year alone, pushing the total number of millionaires in the country to a staggering 23.8 million people as we head into 2025. I mean, that's the highest total of any nation on the planet. That's the highest total of any nation on the planet, and it's a 1.5% jump from 2023. 28.3 million people in the United States of America are millionaires. Now let's break this down with some numbers to really wrap our heads around this. That 379,000 new millionaires means that the U.S. economy created roughly $379 billion in new millionaire level wealth last year, assuming each new millionaire hit the $1 million mark. Globally, the millionaire population grew by 684,000, but the U.S. accounted for over 55% of that growth. And it's not just millionaires. Forbes reported that there are also now 2,891 billionaires worldwide, with 813 of them being right here in the United States. That's nearly 28% of the world's billionaires also call the United States home as well. These numbers are staggering, man. These numbers are staggering. The UBS study points to strong financial markets, a stable dollar, and a thriving entrepreneurial spirit as the drivers, with sectors like tech, real estate, and energy leading the charge. UBS economist James Mazzo, he even noted that while 2025 might see slower pace, the engines of growth in the United States are far from stalling. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Almost 40% of the world's millionaires live in the United States, a testament to the American dream, still being alive and kicking. Think about that for a second. Out of 7.8 billion people on Earth, 7.8 billion people on Earth, nearly 24 million of them are millionaires, and almost 10 million of those are right here in the United States. And that wealth isn't just sitting in bank accounts, it's fueling businesses, it's creating jobs and driving innovation. Cities like New York, San Francisco, and Dallas, they're millionaire magnets right now. Although New York, obviously we talked about this last week, they're hemorrhaging people right now. They're hemorrhaging businesses right now. And, a lot of the red tape and a lot of the regulatory nonsense that they got going on up there is actually, hurting some of the folks up there. But you got a tech boom that's going on. There's a tech boom that added thousands to that list. Even in the heartland, you got states like Texas and Florida. They saw huge gains thanks to low taxes and business-friendly policies. So what does this mean for us? This explosion of wealth, it's a shining example of what happens when you let the free market do its thing. Low regulation, tax cuts, and individual initiatives create an environment where anyone with a good idea and hard work, they can strike it rich. It's the backbone of capitalism. The system that, that made America the economic powerhouse that it is today. When you got leaders, such as President Trump, they've pushed deregulation and tax reforms, even in some areas where, historically business business ownership would have been slim through the opportunity zones. You see more and more businesses being opened into some areas that historically people would say, we're not going to open a business there. But because of those opportunity zones and some of the tax breaks, folks are starting to take advantage of those opportunities in some of what people consider quote unquote undeserved communities. We're starting to see those numbers rise. So as a result to these reforms, you can see results of a 4.6% rise in global wealth just last year alone, with the Americans leading the way, jumping, over, 11% or so. And that's not luck. That's just some policies, some good policies working. And it's not just about the numbers. The ability to build wealth reflects personal responsibility and the pursuit of happiness and those unalienable rights that we all hold dear, given to us by God. When put into practice, the sky's is the limit for you. Yes, you're going to have to be willing to jump out there and take some risk, but you can be rewarded for said risk. And honestly, the opposite happens when government overreaches with heavy taxes or bloated spending on programs that don't deliver. I mean, just look at the contrast. While millionaires are multiplying, Washington keeps burning billions on, foreign aid, the USAID foolishness, DEI initiatives, money that could be left in the hands of people to invest and grow. The study shows that when you trust individuals over bureaucrats, the economy thrives. Get the heck out the way and let the people do what they do. Get the heck out the way and let the people put their money where their mouth is and put their work ethic where their mouth is. There's a flip side to this we just can't ignore. Maybe, just maybe, inequality isn't the issue. It's stagnation. It's stagnation. And the fact that 1,000 people a day are joining the Millionaire Club means that the ladder of opportunity is still there. All those people, think about the people that bought homes from 2017 to 2019, and they were able to buy their home at a fairly affordable rate. They have a really low interest rate. They want you out those interest rates. I know for those of you guys that were able to buy a house pre the pandemic, interest rates at that time were as low as 2.25%. We're probably not ever going to see those numbers again. We're probably never going to see those types of numbers again as far as the interest rates, but there was a plethora of people who were able to take advantage. And when people say millionaires, it's not money in the bank. It's really assets, right? So the people that were able to purchase homes, and if you know anything, about America, there was a plethora of people that were able to purchase homes. And even in the Black community, home ownership rates rose up to almost 50%, which is solid. Everybody knows that the number one way that you build wealth in America is through your home. And your home and that equity gives you the opportunity that you can utilize it to start businesses, to finance businesses that you may have. Yeah, it's a risk, but that's what it's about. That's what it's about. So it's not about redistributing wealth. It's about creating more of it. It's not about the redistribution. It's really about creating more of it, with 813 billionaires in the United States, many of whom are philanthropists or, job creators. You see the trickle-down effect in action. You see it. Think Elon Musk Tesla factories or Jeff Bezos Amazon warehouses. You see this. And think about the businesses that have been created off of those. Think about that. You got a lot of folks that have started businesses off of bigger businesses. I know a couple people who, own, FedEx routes and things of that nature, and they got a multitude of trucks and they're doing well. I would assume that asset wise, they're probably in that millionaire category, if not, or pretty daggone close. And what this shows you is that America, it is still the land of potential, not handouts, potential. It's a call to double down on what works, cut taxes further, slash red tape, and let the free market reward innovation. People that are willing to jump out there and take a risk. People that are willing to put the work in. A lot of folks want the money. They don't want to put the work in. But it's also a challenge. It's also a challenge. Will we protect the system from those who would rather see the government control it all? Either way, this millionaire boom isn't just a statistic. It's a snapshot of what happens when people are free to dream big and build something. But freedom comes with responsibility, and the choices that we make as a nation will shape whether this trend keeps climbing or starts to stall. Are we going to keep pushing for policies that unleash that potential, or let the bureaucracy choke it out? I mean, it's up to us to stay informed and vocal about what we actually want for our future. I mean, it's huge. what's happening. And there's some opportunities out there. There's a lot of opportunities out there. You got a lot of older people, baby boomers, that are looking for retirement. They're looking to exit out of their businesses. There's some opportunity out there. I would say before you jump out there and start a business, look at going out there to buy one, because there are a lot of them out there for sale. Some are good, some are bad. So do your due diligence. I'm not telling you to just jump out there and buy the first thing that you see, but there are some opportunities out there, man. And it's, I just thought it was awesome, man. So I want to share that with you guys, what was going on out here. There's some good things happening. We just got to be willing and prepared to take advantage of those opportunities. Again, I go back, anybody that bought a home pre-pandemic, and you guys are living on those super, super low interest rates right now. Like I said, they got as low as 2.25%, 2.25%, 2.25%. So yeah, I want to hear from you guys in the chat. I think we do have it pinned. I think the show started at like the 14-minute mark. So I think I do have that pinned. Once we end the show, if B, I think you said you was going to do it. If you could jump in there and drop that comment down there for me so I can make sure that I pin it. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show today, man. I appreciate you guys pulling up as always. I do appreciate you guys, man, and keeping things peaceful in the chat and keeping the chat flowing. Shout out to everybody that supported the channel financially. I definitely appreciate that. 288 likes with 260 watchers. That is phenomenal as well. Thank you very much. I want to make sure I show some love to John Stevenson, supporting the channel via Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that as well. Shout out to you, Riza Mahmood, via CashApp, supporting the channel. Thank you very much for doing so. I really, really appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. It means a lot. You supporting the channel that way. And shout out to Eric Plummer as well, supporting the channel financially via Cash App as well. Thank you guys very much for supporting the channel, man. I really, really appreciate it. I do not take it for granted at all. Like I said, man, hope you guys enjoyed the show today, man. Keep God first, stay prayed up, and we will catch up with you all next time. Y'all take it easy, man. Enjoy the day. Have a great Monday.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth.